Hello, everybody. Good to be with you again. So today I thought we'd chat about the witness and the witness state and witnessing, and is there such a thing? And if so, what is it, etc. This question is often asked of me, so I figured it would be a really good idea to bring it up here. And I want to thank one of my friend Jane in England for recommending that I do a video on this. So let me state here that I would like very much for you to send me emails, freddavis@gmail.com, to send me emails with suggestions for videos that you would like to see. And some of them may be too complex or something, or maybe too long, but surely a lot of you can come up with good, concise questions that you have about where you're at in awakening, and or where you're headed or where you were. It doesn't make any difference. Just send them to me and I'll do my best to answer them. I'm probably not going to do long videos on questions, but I am going to answer as many as I can. Okay, I can't promise you if you send one, I'm going to answer it. I have no idea what the response will be, but I'm going to try. So let's go ahead and get working on that, please. So in order to talk about the witness, let me recount my own experience as a seeker. When I became a, what do you say? I mean, it's just crazy to even describe it this way, but an advanced seeker, meaning that I had been around this neighborhood for a while, and actually at that point for 20 years or 20 plus. And that I had a good understanding of, well, I really had no understanding of what we were really doing, because you can't have any understanding of what we're really doing until you wake up. But you can smell some things, you can feel some things. And what was also happening was that more than smelling or feeling was that I was getting glimpses, not real regularly, but they were not neither rare nor common. They were somewhere in between. And these, so the glimpses were giving me the real inside story. And while that glimpse of reality would inevitably fade, something about it would not fade. Because I had a glimpse to the size that I would call it an awakening in 1992. And I had really seen the truth very, very clearly, but it had faded to the point I couldn't remember what it was that I'd seen. I mean, and I began to doubt that such a thing had occurred. That may be sound, really hit home for some of you too. Then there happened that I began to explore what I was hearing about called the witness state. And the witness state is really where you're watching the character movie. I was watching the Fred movie. And but it felt like that there was the Fred movie out there, and then I was quite removed over here. So if I say anything that's out of order for you strict non-dualists, just hang with me, it'll all be made clear. So I moved to where, what happened was I began to move into the witness state more or less spontaneously. And in alignment with this was I had come to recognize the sense of being very, very clearly. I didn't know what it was, but I certainly could notice it. And I was noticing it on a regular basis deliberately. It was, so to speak, my morning practice. And that practice that is now what I suggest to others, which is simply, when I talk about the sense of being meditation, it simply means being still and noticing the truth of yourself. Even if you don't know what that is, you can feel that sense of being. You know, or you can come to know that that's you, that there's this sense of being. And I used to could feel it very, very easily within the body and with my eyes closed, and I could really get there. And then it got to where I could notice the sense of being and with my eyes open. And then it got to where I could come to notice the sense of being. I didn't have to create it. I didn't have to bring it on. I just had to notice it. It was always there. It's always there. And you may notice it in the extremities first, the hands and the feet or whatever. You may, depending upon the literature you've read, you may begin to embrace it with the heart, or with mind, or whatever. But there's just a sense of being. And I began to notice this, and it was my practice to notice this daily. And along with this came this ability finally to move into, stick with me, to move into the witness state on command. In other words, I could do it anytime I wanted to. So that I would go walking in the graveyard every day at that time in my life. And every day I go down to the graveyard and I would revert to the witness state. And the witness state is great because you're not so involved. You're not so personally, it doesn't feel like you're so personally involved. You've got some distance in between, stick with me, in between you and relativity, you and what's out there. Because it's a movie, and you see that the characters in the movie, you know about, you're beginning to feel that, but you don't know what you are yet. You feel like, I'm this body, and I'm now not identified, and I'm watching Fred, whatever. It's going to appear anyway. And I actually came to the point where I became very, very satisfied with this ability to move into the witness state, to distance myself from conditions, and to inhabit, or just to notice very strongly the sense of being, because that was, I noticed, was bringing me a sort of peace that I didn't really understand, but that I liked a lot. I just didn't know who liked it. So that witness state is a big advance. It's a big move toward non-duality. It's not non-duality itself. To when you in the way that I'm describing, because the way that I'm describing it is that there was an individual who could distance himself from the happenings of relativity, if you will. So that's the way it felt. And so that's the way I'm reporting it to you. But because that was the way it was felt, it wasn't actually non-duality, but it was a strong movement toward that. And these glimpses, that was non-duality. That was but I thought I was moving in and out of those glimpses. I thought the Fred unit was having glimpses. I thought the Fred character was having glimpses. Oh, I see, it's very clear for me, said Fred. And then it would just drop away again. And when I'd have a good one of these glimpses, one with a little duration, more than seconds or something, I would think, of course, this is it. I see it. Oh my God, I can't believe it. This thing is so obvious. I could never unsee this. And I was wrong every time. And you will be too, if you swear to that, because it's a promise you can't to yourself, or that you just can't keep. It feels like you could never come to miss that truth, but the problem in that is that there's a you. Fred didn't think that Fred could ever miss that again. Now, at that moment of the actual experiencing, there's no Fred. That's it. There's no Fred. But very soon there will be a Fred who comes in and says, "Oh, I had a glimpse. This was great." At that point, we have moved out of the truth and back into the dream. But it isn't really like that. That's the way it will feel, is that we've moved out of the truth and back into the dream. But the fact is, there's no one home here. So it is not like an achievement by Fred, which is what the ego will declare is so. And we can't actually find a little hard ball of an ego anywhere. But there are these patterns that work sort of symbiotically and everything, and that is ego. Where, because what happens when the spreadness here, mentally, emotionally, physically, there are Fred patterns here, and we call them Fred patterns because we call this Fred as if this was a singular thing instead of a zillion patterns operating in a way that we just can't see. But ask any physicist and he'll tell you there's more space in that wall over there, that wall back there, than there is anything else. So appearances. So when we're experiencing the witness state, relish it, right? Enjoy it, love it, because you're moving in the right direction. That's a great sign. It's also a sign that you're not quite there, right? And at this moment, who knows? Because we can have a glimpse and be there, so to speak. Oh God, the languaging is killing it. But there can be a glimpse, and we can be the truth, and then there is a claiming of that event by our so-called ego, at which point the event has passed. Because the ego will think that, oh, God Almighty, I saw it so clearly, but there's no one home. There's no one here to witness anything. The witness is just another thought. It is. That's the reason I tell you that it's not non-duality itself. It's a thought. It's a very advanced thought. But like all the other thoughts, it ain't true, right? It sort of points toward the truth, but it also points toward the false just as strongly. But the witness state is temporarily a desirable place. And, if I had never gotten out of the witness state and the sense of being, I mean, if, so to speak, if I had not, whatever, languaging it, I was happy. That's the truth. I was happy to have gotten that far. I felt like all of my time and money and attention that I'd spent in the non-duality was well worth it, because as if there's anyone here to make that judgment, but that's the way it felt, and I was very happy with having bumped into non-duality and explored it. That's the way it felt. But there is this witness state, but can you find an owner to it? And the answer is, well, you try it. The next time you find yourself in the witness state, or if you're at a place where it feels like you can enter the witness state, God, the languaging, enter the witness state on command, then bring that about. Notice that it's been brought about. And see if you can find an owner to it. And you can do the same thing with the sense of being. There's a sense of being. It's unmissable once you recognize that it's just this sense of aliveness that's here in every single body. What can happen without that sense of aliveness? Absolutely nothing. What can be seen without that sense of aliveness? Nothing. What can be experienced? Nothing. So in the absence of the sense of being, you know what we got? Nothing. And that's closer to what you really are than the sense of being is. But the sense of being is sort of the last rung on the ladder as we move up or move down, however you see it, into truth. So the witness is a thought. There's no real witness anywhere anymore. To make myself clear, let me tell you that the witness is exactly as true as Fred Davis. I've looked for Fred Davis for almost 40 years. And I've finally gotten to the point where I can retire from that. But I did look for him certainly for 24 years, very hard. And then I had to wrangle with ego and everything else for a few years as clearing took place. The clearing is coming to see for your own self, to see, to experience that there is no witness and there is no witnessed. There is, however, witnessing. And what is witnessing? It's an appearance within, it's a phenomena within the dream. It's a phenomena within the dream, but it's a dream phenomena. Witnessing is a dream phenomena if you think you're doing it. It is not a dream phenomena if it's noticed. There's this witnessing, there's no witness, there's no witnessed. There is, well, as a matter of fact, what can I find? What do I know here? What can I find here that's true? Gee, I can't find anything, period. There's no Fred here to back up the witness, to be to where this was some part of a Fred or a Ned or a Beth or whatever your name is. So witnessing, there's no owner to it. There is witnessing in exactly the same way. There's a sense of being. Understand that witnessing is not a pledge that there's something true. There is truth, but it's not something, it's nothing. We can't really say it's nothing because it feels like something. So let's just call it no thing. And there is no thing prior to the one thing. This is oneness. It's fabulous. Enjoy it. I love it. I mean, I'm a worshiper of Maya, of the dream. Why? Because this is what is until it's not. And I don't want to fall out of alignment with what's not, which is what I'm doing when I'm saying, I don't think, this, I've woken up, but this is not enough. This is not what I expected. This is not doing enough for me. All of that is coming from a character view. Anytime you're feeling that, you can just hear me out. You have slipped back into a misidentification as the character. That's the awakeness has no thoughts and no complaints. Awakeness simply is. And what is awakeness doing here? Nothing. There's no here. But it feels like, it looks like there's a show going on. We can certainly all say that. There's no Fred, but there's an ongoing Fred life here, which is the reason I have so much respect for relativity. I know that non-dualists tend to diss it. And we should distance ourselves from it. We should get rid of it. We should, we need to kill the ego. We need to all these things. And I have but one word to answer all of that. And that one word is bullshit. It's not the experience here. And I am currently working with many, many awakened beings. And I have worked with tons of awakening beings in the last 10 years that I've been teaching. And some before that, much to their dismay. So what we want to know is that in place of the witness, there is this witnessing, but it's not owned by anybody. It's just a verb. You are a verb. You're not a noun. We constantly trying to bring this thing down to be some kind of noun we can know, see, and understand. You're not a noun. You're a verb. It is not understandable. The sooner you come to accept the fact that you cannot understand the capital U understanding. The final understanding here is coming to notice that there's no understanding the understanding. There's no understanding this. There's a grokking this. You can get this, but you can't hold it. You are this. So you can't really get this. You can just notice that you really are already this. But I'm getting off track and I don't want to. I want to stick with the witness thing. And we've done that. So thank you very much. And I will see you later, I guess. And I love you all.